Hello, everyone. I'm Olga Baranova, and just before I start, I want to make a small disclaimer. This is my first public presentation, and I did my best to put there everything that I know, to share all the cool things with you, to make your work more comfortable and efficient. But there's a lot of things that I might forgot. So if you want to grab me sometimes after this talk, I would be happy to talk about everything. That's me. And 3 years ago, when it was my last year of university, I found an internship in Customertimes and became a developer. I've been through a lot of projects. Some of them were huge, some of them were not. And for all these years, from the first day, completely different people showed me some features in WebStorm that simplify their work. And then, as some kind of ancient secret, I share this knowledge with others. I'm pretty sure you already know some things that I'll show here, but I hope each of you will find something new and useful for themselves. So let's go through the whole coding process from the very beginning and see what we can find there. And well, let's start with the initial setup. First of all, you can set up a signature. So you can go to the file and code templates. Then tab includes, and here you can write whatever you want for each type of file, and then you will see it as a header of the newly created document. By the way, you can change file templates too if you need. Moreover, I'll recommend you to change the memory settings. Because the WebStorm is quite modest, so give it more RAM than originally it takes. This will make it work faster and won't get frozen when you try to open a second project. Then, when you create a Salesforce project, you have to set up a connection. Pay attention to the checkboxes that you set. This one, for example, this one is really useful if you are not alone on this sandbox. Check for conflicts on deployment. Because Illuminated Cloud will then compare the version of the metadata that exists locally against what's available. What's available on the organization upon deployment and alert you if there are some conflicts. The next one, as I said, require confirmation for all right operations. You can use if you want to prevent some unexpected deployment and other operations, just like when you want to see something on prod but don't want to break it down. In the validation tab, you can change the behavior. For example, if you want to deploy open files instead of all modified. And in the unit test tab, there is a checkbox, always run unit test asynchronously. And by default, Illuminated Cloud will run test execution request for a single Apex class synchronously, often resulting in a faster test execution. If you're experiencing issues where unit tests being run synchronously are reporting false negatives, check this option to run unit tests asynchronously instead. Sometimes after creating your project, you may see something like this. And there are meta files, all your code is colored in red. That might be scary, but don't worry. To fix it, you just need to change the source folder. So go to the configure model, project structure, and just mark needed folder as source folder. Usually it's just a folder with all your project. And save it. And yeah, now it looks better. Besides code templates, there are live templates. Most of you, I think, already know something of them, such as SD, which of the wave of the magic button turns into system debug. There's another one. Yeah. You can go through this list and find some of templates that will be useful for you. You can modify already existing one, like I did, for example, or even create your own. By the way, you might have noticed that I used some hotkeys already, and there is a lot of them. So let me show you the most interesting. To find more of them, you can just pay attention to the designation in menu, or even just Google it, but it's not so interesting. I will show you everything on Mac, so mostly I'll name the keyboard shortcuts for macOS. However, at the bottom, the green box will appear where you can see some combinations for other systems too. And I'll start with the most frequently used. It's double shift. With this hotkey, you can quickly find any file, action, class, or settings in WebStorm in your project and in the current Git repository. With Command F, you can search. You can search for any text fragmented file, and if you add shift, then you will search it in a project. If you know the class name, you can search for it by pressing Command O, and if it can be not only class, just press Shift Command O. It will open a searcher by any file type. If you remember that you work with something not so long time ago, just look at the history by pressing Command E, and you will see recent files or recent location if you press it with Shift. Okay, you find everything that you remembered and forgot some parameters. Just press Command P and you will see them. Besides that, with F2 or Shift F2, you can jump between the code issues. Like this one. Okay. And now let's talk about the refactoring a little bit. Firstly, I should mention option Command L. That will help you to format your code. You can just use it only for the highlighted fragment too. Someday, I bet you need to duplicate the string. Don't ask why, just remember that you can do it with Command D. The next one is pretty interesting. If you hold if you hold Option and highlight some text, like this, for example, you can then cut it, write something like this, and then with Option Shift you can insert it like this. Yay! Alternatively, you can use double option and up or down arrows to place cursor in a vertical line. So don't forget to hold Option button after that. In order to rename any variable, you can use Shift F6 and write something here, and it will rename it in all occurrences. Moreover, you can press Command-Control-G on the highlighted text, and it will show you all the occurrences. Yes, it will highlight all the occurrences. And after that, you can do something like this. Sometimes you need to highlight the entire method, so you can, or even a class, and you may do this in a more comfortable way by holding Option button and click up arrow, or down if you want to shrink the selection. In addition to rearrange the code, you can move any line to the better place with Option Shift and arrow buttons again. And similarly, to move the entire method, click Command-Shift and put it in the right place. And finally, beautify your code fragment. To do this, click Option Enter, inject language or references, and choose the needed language. For me, it's JSON. And now it's look better. It's in different colors, etc. And you can modify it with the same buttons. And as you can see, my changes already here. Okay. Now we have made some initial settings and even worked a little, but frankly, it's quite boring to work alone, so let's call a friend. We can do it with Teams, TeamViewer, even Slack, but for coding purposes, the IDE itself will be enough for us. So we can start a session to which your colleague or friend can connect, and together you can modify classes and so on online. It even supports voice and video communications. Interesting button. Let's have a look what else there. Buttons that help us to return to the previous step or forward, okay. Some buttons for unit tests, some buttons to manage the code, like deploy or retrieve. What else there? I don't need it. Let's remove it. Yep, that's better. You can even open your org if you forgot your credentials. And this one I showed you earlier. And some Git buttons, but you can see them because of my resolution. Okay. And at the bottom, we can see our to-dos. We can run some code. Don't forget to leave debug only, but I can do it also because of my resolutions. Okay, you can run some query. For example, you can open in org by ID your record. But you don't need to create new debug log on your org. You can just open log analyzer and wait needed logs. You can even create a connection under another user's credential and run, and you will see the logs for him. Okay, let's switch to the terminal. Initially, the terminal emulator runs with your default system shell, but sometimes on Windows, we need bash instead of usual CMD. So as to specify the shell, go to the Tools, Terminal. And here in the shell path, you can choose needed option. Afterwards, at the right bottom corner, you can see or change your connection or the branch. And of course, there is a Git. It's just helpful to know that you can do here whatever you want, doing commit, checkout, merge, etc. Something like this. On top of that, something that I like the most, it's comparing. You can compare your code with other branches here, or not only branches, you can compare it with your environment, like compare with server or other connections that you have. Besides, you can search through all local history. By default, it shows the last 5 days, but you can change it. And the last, but not the least, with a clipboard. Moreover, you can just split a couple of files and work with them side by side, if the screen resolution allows you to do this. And in the end, let's talk about the additional features of the WebStorm extensions. There is a wide variety of them, and so I would recommend you to disable I would recommend you to disable them unless you are working with them. This way you will spare some space in the memory. And, well, first, I'll start with the Git toolbox. With this extension, you can see the Git blame for each line. So now you can find who messed up your code even faster. Are you used to use minimap in the games? No more words. Just use minimap for code too. With Code Glance Pro, the next one is, have you been assigned to write all the tests in the world again? Well, now at least you won't have to give name to dummy data. With randomness, you can just click Option R. Ah, no. Yes. But but not now. There's something wrong. Okay. Yes. You can press Option R and choose whatever you need, and it will give you some random word, for example. Did you miss my slide about hotkeys? Go and review the recording, seriously. Okay. Just use Key Promoter X plugin. And when you use the mouse inside the IDE, it shows you the keyboard shortcuts, like this one here, that you should have used instead. Is your code boring and monotonous? Paint it in all colors of the rainbow. With Highlight Brackets Pair plugin can color highlight the bracket pair only, like this one. Moreover, rainbow bracket color codes each pair of brackets. As you see, my brackets all in different colors. And if it's still not enough for you, you can download Indent Rainbow to colorize the indentation in front of your text, alternates in 6 different colors of each step. And lastly, there is one more topic that I wanted to discuss with you, and that's really subjective, the themes. I'll just describe to you some interesting examples to make it easier to choose. First of all, it's material. One can specify color scheme in the custom themes section of the IDE. It comes with a ton of widgets that you can use as shortcuts along with the current project widget. Dark purple has a white space, brightness is lower, so you can focus, remains on coding only. You can increase or decrease color brightness for caret rows as per your needs. And the syntax highlights can be customized with the desired color so that you can easily notice them. Halcyon, a minimalistic dark blue theme. I tried a lot of themes and I stopped at this one. It has a nice color, everything is conveniently highlighted, and the developers did not complain about it, unlike others I tried. And the most essential thing, non-cat progress bar. Do you guys use it? Not yet? Why? Download it. No, I'm serious. I did the whole presentation just for it. And that was the last topic of my speech. Thank you all for attention. I hope it will help you in your work. If you remember at least something, oh, I'm just kidding. Of course you don't. Don't worry, it surely be posted somewhere. Anyway, if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ola.